All right. Welcome back to the Authenticity Calling podcast. I'm your host, Ralitza, and I'm so grateful to be joined for the third time on the Authenticity Calling podcast by Dr. Rebecca Reid, who is a family doctor turned somatic therapist and intuitive coach. And she has got something super juicy coming down the pipeline very soon. Rebecca, do you want to tell us all about dating for witches and what that's all about and how you named it? I'm so curious.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, dating for witches is really like this outpouring of my own experience in the dating world as a woman who was previously single in my early 30s. This world, yeah, it took a lot of work to really like clear the way to get ready for partnership. And
Mhm.
I feel like once now that I'm in a situation where I'm like in a like really, really beautiful partnership, I'm like looking back, just kind of reverse engineering the steps that I had to take to get to the point where I was really ready to accept a really different kind of relationship. And that's really what the program is about. It's like taking people who like really highly successful women who have done a lot of work, who kind of have their lives really set up, but are ready, have like kind of stumbled across the same blocks over and over again when it comes to love and relationships. They've tried a lot of times, they've been in relationships, they've been through horrible breakups, they've been on the apps, they're ready for something different and a new approach. And I think the steps in this program really take people through a transformation where either you're ready to just like receive life more fully and more satisfyingly just as a like empowered single woman, and ready, like really truly ready to receive partnership with a different type of man, a more divine masculine man to come into your life. So that's really what the program is about. I called it Dating for Witches because I thought it was hilarious. But I really wanted to kind of catch people's attention in this more spiritual space where we have the people who are already working in a little bit more of like a spiritual framework,
Mhm.
who are burning sage and doing like following the moon cycle and are already kind of connected to some of these themes. And really like I think the game changer in this course as opposed to other courses is it brings in this more spiritual lens of dating.
Mhm.
um, and I mean I use it as like, okay, maybe that makes it sound like we're also just gonna like cast spells and sit around and like make
Right.
little rituals and burn sage. And that is like absolutely not at all what it's about. But that's not really what true magic is about. Like
That's right.
really true magic is about getting into the mind, getting into the body, getting into the soul, and really seeing what are the blocks, what are the accumulated wounds, and somatic embodied uh, patterns that are really like getting in the way of manifesting what's about like what's ready to come into your life. And
Mhm.
really, like I work with a framework of A Course in Miracles, and the definition of a miracle is a shift in perspective. And
Mhm.
so we take this kind of esoteric concept of the witch, but when we're actually like working with that energy in real life, like we're looking for these miracles that are these shifts in perspective that allow miracles to come into our life, allow magic to come into our life. So we need to go and look at mother wounds and father wounds and
Mhm.
really re-examine what are the accumulated beliefs across your lifetime, across generations around men and the masculine, around love and relationships? What are you carrying that's
Mhm.
actually getting in the way of what you want to really come and just magnetically be attracted into your life? And that's the kind of magic that I am teaching. And yeah, it's a little more work than lighting candles and burning sage.
Yeah.
But that like truly is the power of like the creative power of the feminine when we're in this embodiment of, in this modern, with the term witches coming back as this theme that we're playing on. And do we look like, are we wearing pointy hats and riding on broomsticks? Absolutely not. But that
Right.
energy of the archetype of the witch, of this
Mhm.
more deepening into the mystical and the magical and this internal power of the feminine, that's really
Mhm.
how this witch energy is manifesting in today's day and age. And
Mhm.
that's really who I'm speaking to, is women who are on the cusp of that, who are really ready to come into relationship with that in a different way and take really high levels of personal responsibility and transform their lives and that of their partners and that of the people
Mhm.
that are around them. When I mean really my vision is that I want more people to be in love.
Yes, I
Like
love that.
I really do. Like I want people to be in these partnerships that create this fertile ground so that there's this outpouring of love and peace and generosity that come from the place like when we are deeply in love with ourselves, with another person, with the world, with our lives, that is such a different place to come from. And when these
Mhm.
core partnerships are the place of so much struggle, and we all, most of us know what that's like, there's not many people that have gotten through this lifetime. There's not many people that really received the skill set of what is required to be in deep partnership when they came into this lifetime. Like that's just
Absolutely.
the that is the place that we're starting with, right? Is there are people that have been absolutely blessed with wonderful families and wonderful parents, and then sometimes even life takes them later and you have like really challenging relationship experiences, and so we're all kind of in this arena together, and there's just things that we can do about it to do it better so that we are manifesting love differently in the world through these sacred partnerships that, certainly I was seeking, and I know that a lot of people are seeking these really transformative, grounding, expansive partnerships that are
Mhm.
totally possible, but it takes us getting ready, and that's really what dating for witches is about, is bringing us to that place where we're truly ready.
I love that. I know for me and my own personal experience, we hear this a lot, and I think it's really difficult to get lost on the journey of what the heck does this even mean. But it's like when you're looking for partnership and you're looking for a partner and you have this list of qualities that they have to have. And then, it's like you hear, oh, become the person that you want to be with. Like, what the heck does that even mean? Right. Because the divine feminine and the divine masculine is quite different. And so, creating that divine union within is so important. And as you said, being able to love someone else actually starts with being able to fully love ourselves. And it really does. Like, if you're dating and you feel like you're attracting the same person every time, or like the same dynamics or the same patterns, and a lot of times too in dating, we'll find that we get triggered by certain people or certain patterns, and it's like that is actually because your nervous system is ready for you to face that thing that wants to be transformed, whatever it is, whether it was from your upbringing or your it passed down genealogically in your ancestry, or whatever that thing is. It's showing up because it actually wants you to transform it, and until you do, you're going to keep attracting the same type of people because
Mm-hmm.
you're not doing the inner work. So yeah, I think it's super important to highlight that. And this is evidence based. Like, these tools are evidence based. They're definitely going to be supportive because they do have a pathway and a process. It's neurological, it's emotional, it works with mindset. There's so many different tools that actually help us to get out of our own way. And, when you say like becoming, I always thought of it before, and this is exactly the work that I had to do to get into the divine union that I'm in. And I'm still triggered and having to like do my inner work often in this relationship. The difference is that I don't feel outside of myself. Like, I don't feel like I have to self-sacrifice in order to be in this relationship. Whereas in the past, I had been triggered, but then it's like no matter what you try to do, because I wasn't in alignment with myself, I hadn't done, the mother wounds, the father wounds, really showing up in integrity for myself, really living in my own blueprint. Um, that people pleasing habit, that tendency to self sacrifice, self sabotage for the purpose of others, right? That pattern of codependency. It's very interesting. A lot of us, I think we don't see it, but in a group, I think it's so much easier to see ourselves when we actually see a mirror in another woman showing up. And, when they share, they're like this and this and this, and you're like, oh my God, me too. And then they get feedback from the coach, and you're like, oh my God, me too. It's so much easier, I think, to process. That's why I
Totally.
love group coaching. It's so much more fun to do the work together. And I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was like scrolling in online dating, I feel like the most fun that I would have, and my best ability to identify people who are actually really good matches for me happened when I was sitting with my best friend and we would scroll together, and I'd be like, oh, what about this one? And she reads through his profile and she's like, no, this is so out of alignment for you. Like, this is the exact same as like this other. And there are things that we
Yeah.
don't see. Like, our unconscious mind blocks certain things that I really should be red flags for us. But because those are things that we're naturally attracted to, because we're so used to creating chaos in our own lives, because chaos feels safe and known, right? And so it's like it's so much more fun to do this online dating thing and just to really be able to see our own patterns with other people. So if I was still dating, I would definitely be joining this group because I think that's so fun.
Yeah, it totally, I agree with everything that you said. And I found like power of group coaching for myself is just, it's efficient in so many ways where it's just like, and it's normal. There's something about it that's so normalizing of just like, oh my God, like we are all doing the same things. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many like collective wounds that are, we don't necessarily need individual coaching, but, and sometimes it is a lot more easy psychologically to see it in somebody else and be like, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. No, it's true. And in these coaching programs, the best part is that we will see our mirrors, whether as a coach, we're going to see ourselves as mirrors in our clients, but also clients will see mirrors in each other. And the best part about group coaching is when one person rises and transforms, it's like the energy of the entire collective shifts.
Yeah.
So even if you're not ready to show up to actually do the work, a lot of energy in your space will shift. And then that, and it's funny because you've said this before in our last podcast, but the level of work that you do, you actually see it in the partners that you attract. I remember like I had that very similar experience. So looking back, and even with my partner that I'm with now, it's we talked about dating and how, you know, why were we both on these platforms for so long? We were both on and off and on and off. And it was just one of those, journeys, even changing our locations when we traveled, because thought like my person's not in my city. Little did we know that like I had my location in his location. He had his location in mine. So funny. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
interesting how it works because, I think we do, as we know, we attract our mirrors. And so when we do the inner work to get there, and especially, we're going to talk today, I think, more about the divine masculine, but when we do that inner work to work with the blocks and the traumas and the experiences that we've had, which don't allow us to feel safe in the energy of that masculine, right? When we're actually able to work it and transform the relationship within ourselves, that will naturally attract, again, because life is a mirror, our divine union partner, right?
Mhm.
But we always look on the outside. I think it's a normal part of society outside of the coaching world to really look outside and be like, what's wrong with me? Because we're constantly seeking that external validation. Like I've seen women say, you know what? He's not even like half of what I want in a man, but I'm dating him. And it's like, and he said that something doesn't feel right. And they're like, I don't get it. What do you mean something doesn't feel right? And they think that it's them being rejected when really this person naturally feels that this woman is not all in for him.
Mhm.
And that's the reflection. It's like, how can you be mad at a man for feeling that you're not fully there? And that, this is partially a trauma bond or not a healthy relationship. It's not a healthy foundation if you're thinking he's only 50% of what you want. And the other part is like, you're so critical about certain things about this person, right? And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that turns back into ourselves too. So I just think dating is a beautiful mirror of, and even our judgments that we project onto other people are like,
Totally.
wow, those are all, how is that true about myself? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot there, and that's a kind of a perfect segue, just that little anecdote that you just told about some of the stuff that, but yeah, some of the content in the course that I'm bringing up that I think a lot of people will feel a little bit sensitized about. I guess where I maybe want to start with some stuff around the divine masculine is like we're about to have a conversation about, we need to shift our internal beliefs about the masculine in order to see divinity in the masculine so we can attract that into our lives.
Mhm.
But before we go there, like let's just acknowledge how much hurt has happened in like perpetrated by the masculine to the feminine on this planet, right? There's like
Yeah.
we're on this foundation of generations upon generations upon generations of women who have been generally treated very poorly and controlled by men.
Mhm.
And that has not been serving men and that has not been serving women. And
Mhm.
what's been happening right now in the recent past has been women rising up to claim their power. And it's been beautiful and wonderful. And we've had many, many breakthroughs. And it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect. But one of the things that I see in society is almost this like, it's like, well, then we're just trying to do the masculine thing and we're trying to put like now women on top. And it's like we're trying to like shove men back down. But that was the tactic that they tried on us and it didn't work.
Right.
And it didn't work for them and it didn't work for us,
That's
right?
right.
So that's kind of the lay of the land of like where we are right now. Like we're in this like rising tide of the feminine.
Mm.
We've done an enormous amount of work. There's still like, let's acknowledge the fact that it is absolutely not perfect. There is still wage disparity. There is still like uneven distribution of household labor and all of these things. There are lingering threads in society. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what's happening right now is we're getting to this tipping point of that tactic of trying to just overpower men and put them down, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of the mentality that you're speaking about in that anecdote of that woman who's done this, like, well, this man's only 50% of what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, men aren't doing their work, men aren't living up to these standards that, you know, frankly, like women have had to do an enormous amount of work, right? We've done all this personal transformation, all of this deconditioning around self-worth and all of these things, and we've come into our power. And then we're looking around and being like, well, you guys just have this privilege. Like, what are you doing just sitting here? Like, why aren't you also doing this work? But it's because we were suppressed that we had to do all that work. But now it's made us like highly intelligent, highly educated, highly sophisticated, emotionally intelligent on so many levels. And men haven't had to do that so much. There's been like this shift of like, well, they were kind of already on, they were on top, but now this, like, we're in the midst of this like power imbalance where we're like, like,
Mm-hmm.
well, you're the most powerful and we're the most powerful, and where are we going to go? Like,
Yeah.
what are we
Yeah.
going to do?
Yeah.
And it's left us in this bit of this like tension point, of this
Mm-hmm.
tipping point. And one of the things that it was it was the work of Alison Armstrong, who wrote the book The Queen's Code, that really like deeply woke me up to this. I've always felt this. Like I've been in a lot of women's circles where it's like we're all super empowered and we're doing all this transformative work and it's amazing and it's awesome. And when it comes to talking about men, it's like the rhetoric about men in the masculine in those spaces is so wildly toxically negative sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking around being like, whoa, you guys, like, we're like pumping each other up. And then we're just like turning around and we're putting down the masculine. And yet, you know, if I'm looking at myself and a lot of people like myself, these like highly educated women who've done a lot of work, they've got hobbies, they've got friends, they're kind of set, except they don't have a man in their life. And
Mm-hmm.
they're looking around being like, why can I not find this? But there's these like blinders on of these fixed beliefs around what the masculine is and what it can be, and built on top of also past experiences and past hurts with the masculine, that really gets in the way of being able to see anything new
Mm-hmm.
about how divine the masculine can be. And it's that when we come into this more spiritual lens, we come into this coaching work, and we like really deeply recognize that really the only thing that we can shift is our own self and our own mindset, and the mind creates our reality. And so when the mind is creating our reality and we can see no good men,
Mm-hmm.
and we can see no divinity in men, and we can't see the sensitivity in men and the power of the masculine, the place to go and really look is not outside, which you aptly named. It's to go inside and really take a look. It's like, what beliefs am I holding in my mind that are getting in the way? And when I started doing Alison Armstrong's work, one of the first parts of her book and the Queen's Code is really just to like walk through your world and as you come across men in your day-to-day life, take notice of the thoughts that you're having about the men that you're seeing. And it's quite shocking. Like I would say for myself, for my own, it's like sleazy, like I'm trying to think. I don't even want to say them out loud, right? It's like so bad, like it's so
It's
toxic.
so
Of
bad.
like,
Yeah.
it's so bad. Like, oh, like too pretty, too sleazy, too like, oh, what a jerk, what a this, what a that. Like, it was just like so wildly negative, and it was just kind of this like a wake up call to being like, holy moly, like what? How am I ever gonna have like a healthy, like how do I want to move through the world? Like I don't really want to move through the world like that, like spitting out all these judgments at other people. Like of course I don't. And I would consider myself like a pretty conscious, like pretty like sensitive person. And when I really tuned in, there was this other layer that I think we feel really, really, really justified in holding these beliefs because we
Mm-hmm.
have a lifetime of evidence that it's true. But it's this
Mm-hmm.
accumulate, like we come into this world and we learn this world point, worldview from our family units, from society. Like we're just swimming in it, right? We're just swimming in these narratives about masculinity that are not serving us or the masculine. And then we perpetuate them ourselves unless we go and deeply look at them. And so that's really the place that I think is a really potent place for us to go. And that's where we go in the course, is really, yeah, you want to receive the masculine? Ooh, like, yeah, we need to go and feel some of that hurt. We need to go and, do this deep exploration of like, how has this affected you in your lifetime? Like, where are you? We need to kind of be with the somatic energy of the wounds. Then we need to really shift into this new viewpoint so that we can see something different. And one of the other exercises in Alison Armstrong's book is really like, it's like walking through the world. And as you're with like interacting with men in your mind, it's like asking yourself, in what way is this man divine? In what way is this man emotional? In what way is this man sensitive? And it's like mind-boggling what is different about it. And you just completely miss it if you're not listening with that lens, or if you're not listening at all. Because that is I think another really big tendency of women is we're highly emotionally intelligent, our minds work fast, we're like just kind of on it, and we have a tendency to just really shut men down and actually just not even listen to them.
Or even have so much control, right? Like come in with control, asking so many questions, wanting to know everything. It's like we were never meant to be in this space of control ever. That's divine feminine is not controlling. She's so free flowing, she's flexible, she's intuitive, she's juicy. But like even in her intuition, and again, if you don't do this work now, the relationship will call you to do the work. So it's
you
better
do it up front if you're gonna do it.
You just do it up front.
It keeps going, right? Like once you're in it, it's like the intensity is turned up. So the benefit of really getting into it before you think about entering into partnership is you're like, you've got where you're in your single world where the consequences are just a little bit lower. Right? It's a lot easier or a lot harder when the intensity is turned up. You're in partnership. It feels like there's like bigger consequences of like being with this person or not being with this person. You're more sensitized to your past traumas of being in relationship, but you still have to keep doing this work if you want to keep the field clear, so you can keep interacting with your partner in a really clear way where you're able to really feel like the godlike qualities coming out of them and feeling your own divine radiance. Because ultimately, I mean, it seems like we can punish another person and not punish ourselves. But when we take things into this more spiritual lens of actually we are all one, like at some level we are all one, and I cannot judge you without judging myself, and I can't put you down without putting myself down. And I've even been playing with this a little bit this week. I'll like, because I catch myself in these patterns all the time, right? And I'll start like nitpicking in my head, and I'll like pick on like little superficial things, and I'll start to get annoyed, and then I'll catch myself and I'll be like, oh, okay, geez, it's like if I just like take a look at my partner and I allow him to be divine, and I just like, or I keep asking myself, like, in what way is this person just being divine right now? I can feel myself also being liberated at the same time, because we are not separate. We are absolutely not separate. And so when we hold the masculine and the feminine in this paradigm of you've done bad to us, and so we're going to do bad to you, we keep the paradigm stuck in, if we're not seeing you as divine, then we actually can't be in our full divinity. We can't fully be in our divine feminine, because we can't do that while we're suppressing the masculine, because that's actually not the way of the divine feminine.
Right. Exactly.
It's like we want to be in that. We want to be in our witchy, flowing, intuitive selves, except for that. It's like, yes, but not that. And I think that's a place where a lot of people are stuck right now. And I think it's just a really important place for us to really turn around and look and be like, okay. And it takes sensitivity. It takes tenderness to ourselves, because like, I keep coming back to this idea. It's like, there are wounds, like there are like deep ancestral wounds, like even just, for these accumulated wounds throughout this lifetime. And if we're not able to really like let those go and move past them, then that's where we remain stuck. That's where the magic
Hmm.
gets blocked. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I just want so many more people to experience that, what it feels like to just edge out into this new territory
Mhm.
of what does it mean to allow men and call men into, like, some of this is like actually a calling to rise up, right? It's not us just like melting into the masculine and letting ourselves be suppressed again. It's like absolutely not that.
Right.
It's not
That's the
becoming
toxic feminine,
subservient.
actually. Yeah.
That's
Allowing
the
yourself.
toxic
Yeah.
feminine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not being like subservient to the masculine at all. But if you want to be worshipped, you also have to worship. And
Mm.
we need to find that quality in ourselves. And because when we give that, then we get that. And that's what we're deeply, deeply looking for, is this
Mm.
reverence and this worship back and
Hmm.
forth. Or
Hmm.
that's what I was looking for. And that's what's possible in this when we start to shift our vision around it and shift the beliefs and shift the mind.
Absolutely. It is a total paradigm shift. It really is. And it's everything. It's living on a different, it is living on a different blueprint. And it is that authentic, like the authentic version of you, not the version of you that's living in all these delusions of what men are supposed to be. And I just feel really, I have a son. And so from having a son, but also from, dating and my partner reflecting to me how I showed up as maybe not the best co-parent to my ex-husband for my son in certain times because I really was trying to hold against him things that he should have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, really from that place of, well, if you're not going to do it right, or if you're not going to do it my way, then, like, then he's going to learn bad habits from you. But it's like, at the end of the day, as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, as women in this world. It's not about proving ourselves. It's not about having to dominate. It's not about competition. And that's where I think it's really powerful to be in a group of women so that we can actually relinquish. And I think that's where I asked you earlier before we started. That's about the sister wound. That's the difference. I think dating from the aspect of I am whole and you are whole and you are very unique to me. So we could never be in competition, right? Because my divine union partner is never going to be able to be the same person you want because we're very different and unique, right? And so there is this level of competition and there is this level of like illusion that there's no good men left. And so we think that we're in competition. And I think that's where that came in. And what came through earlier as you were sharing is that I feel like there's a lot of women too. And I actually did a poll in my groups who's single, who's happily single, who's single and dating, and like who's coupled, right? And so, and I didn't want to stir the boat and say who's coupled and looking, but I know those exist too.
Fair enough.
There's those that exist too.
Yep.
And so I just want to highlight that I think the work that you're offering in the space, I don't think is only for people who are dating, because I do know so many extremely powerful women who identify themselves as happily single, but like I beg to differ and I call bullshit on a lot of them because I think if they were able to actually see what's possible and see the caliber of men that are truly out there and see that in themselves and see their greatness and really transform the parts of them that have been wounded, that are just showing up to protect themselves, wanting to stay single, or being happy. And I'm not saying that they don't have amazing lives, they probably do, and they probably are happy being single. And this contradicts something that I posted recently, because I said, if you're happy in the life that you're living, and if you're surrounded by people that celebrate you, and if you like feel like life is good, you don't need to do transformational work because it's going to ask you to change everything, right?
Fair enough.
However, for those people who are single and
However,
and actually deeply do desire, somewhere deep down inside, you do see happy couples and you're like, oh, I kind of want that. But then you just don't
yeah,
have faith in it. Like I would call those women forward too, even if you're
I
not dating.
I agree. And I also, I have full respect for the women that are like, you know what, it's just not happening. They're out there living their lives. It's amazing. And it's just this like sensitivity to that defense mechanism of, oh, I'm just going to make my life as amazing as possible. And my friends are all amazing. And my life is so good. And like, for anyone that I'm calling out right now, I'm also calling out myself. Like I've been here too, where I'm like, I don't need a man. I don't want
Yeah.
that. It's not that important. Look at me. I love my life. And like, yes, being single has its amazing, benefits, and
Yeah.
it's really fun, and there's so much freedom. And it's like the parts of us that when we shut down that voice that is like really deeply longing for deep partnership, that
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, it's like at what level? It's like what do you really want? Like if you had it all
Mm-hmm.
your way, what do you really want?
Mm-hmm.
And but there's also just so many of us that have been out in the dating arena, and it's been like really, really painful, like
Yeah.
really painful. And it takes digesting a lot of that heartbreak
Mm-hmm.
too, to be able to, I mean, it takes digesting that heartbreak to really fully show up in your own life as a fully
Mm-hmm.
actualized, super empowered single woman
Mm-hmm.
too,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, if you're willing, if you like, if that is interesting to you and you feel like maybe there's like a layer of shininess to this single life that is still missing, is just really going back and digesting some of this. And I suspect that there's a lot of people out there who, when they do that and they really look at it and they really sit with themselves and they're really honest, it's like, oh my God, I really want that. And
Mm-hmm.
I've got friends that are in this like very similar. I've a lot of highly educated women who are doctors, who are friends, who live these like beautiful lives. We're out here in the mountains in Nelson, BC, and we bike and we ski and we run and we jump in the lake and we go for margaritas after work, right? It's like it's this like wonderful, wonderful life. And when one of my friends was like told me, we were driving up to the ski hill one day, and she's like, God, I just want to like have a partner. And like it's just like this like weariness of like, God, I just want that. Like I
Yeah.
just really want that. And she's like,
Yeah.
I really want to have a family. Like, yeah, I'm thriving my professional life, but I really want that. And so, and it's it's that
Yes.
calling. And if
Yes.
that's there, and it's not there for everyone.
It's
And
not.
but
And no, and it's not. And it's perfectly fine to be happily single too, right? If
yeah,
you really, truly, genuinely don't have that longing inside you,
yeah,
I don't think that everybody's necessarily made for relationships. Some people's traumas and life experiences are just way too big to even have that desire, right? Like there's certain growth edges that we have in this lifetime, and there's also certain growth edges that we don't. And I think, sometimes I jokingly say, like, oh, well, then you're spiritually bypassing if you're not willing to do the work. But the truth is, at the end of the day, it's true. It's not for everybody, right? Some people have been through such experiences that show them that they actually don't desire partnership, and that makes them happy. Or some people desire partnership, but they don't want children. And it's like we do also have this societal conditioning where everyone must be married and everyone must have children, and that means success. And it's like that's not actually happiness for a lot of people. So, yeah, I just love how open you are. And so, I mean, even if you're somebody who hears this and you're like, I should be doing the spiritual work anyway, regardless of wanting a partner or not. Do you invite also those people, or is it just for people who
absolutely.
want to meet their divine union partner and like really want to date?
No, absolutely. Like I'm all in to dive in with anybody who's like, "Oh yeah, this does sound a little bit like me." And maybe I'm not sure if I want to date. Like, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah,
What are your goals? Like, let's get
beautiful.
into those. Like it's all the same paradigm, it's all the same framework. And for people that are hearing this and are also in relationships and looking for guidance, like that is also a population that I'm really highly passionate about
Mm,
working with, just to some of these concepts about the mirror and coming into resonance and being able to like set boundaries, speak our truth, like all these things that we coach people on a regular basis. These are all super important skills for being in relationship, coming into relationship and being in relationship. And so
mhm.
yeah, I definitely invite all comers that feel resonant with what I'm saying. And yeah, just so happy to, like I said at the beginning, it's like the mission is just more love in the world. So if that's love for yourself and love for your sisters and love for the mountains and love for your garden, right?
Yes,
And love for, riding your bike, and it's
yes.
love for your family, love for your children. Like it's just like
Mhm.
let's just that we need more. We need more of
Mhm.
that. We need more of this like easy, free flowing love. And we live in a world where that's not so easy, and we kind of have to fight for it. Like,
Mhm.
and if
Yeah,
we're
it's
not,
true.
yeah, it takes
And
work.
I think a lot of times too, people are sometimes going through the motions. Like you're going to all of these things, but you're not really truly there. Like you're not fully experiencing it. You're not feeling the joy in your somatic, like in your field, in your somatic, in your body. You don't really, you're checking the boxes, but you're not. really truly feeling full joy. And I think that's the real calling. I hear a lot of people say that, like, I'm doing all the things, but I just don't feel like, I feel like there's more to life. Like I feel like I need to feel more. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful calling. Where can people find you if they want to sign up?
Yeah, so my website is madeformiracles.ca. That's where you can find like my individual coaching booking link and the program. And you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Rebecca Reid at dr.rebecca.reid. And yeah, those are the best places to reach me. But happy to like send me a DM on my. If you go to my website, you can find an email link and just contact me and get in touch with me. And I would just be happy to have conversations with people. Like even if you hear this and you think I'm dead wrong, like please like
Yeah,
come
totally.
and
Reach
reach
out.
out.
Let's
Or if
talk
you're
about
like,
it.
I'm not so sure about that. Like
For sure.
I think it's more like this, or this has been my experience. Like let's have
Yeah.
a conversation about it, right? Like you and I are two people in this world. We have like resonant opinions,
Mhm.
and this world is full of like conflicting
Mhm.
information and opinions that are all coming from really good places, and we need to bring
Mhm.
them together into this unified vision of like, and how do we bring this into more love in the world? How
Yeah.
does this manifest? Like let's just like stir the pot, let's come
Mm.
together, have conversations. So I just really really welcome people reaching out. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I am so excited for everyone that's going to join the program. And yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely amazing and juicy and expansive and so much fun. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's
Absolutely.
gonna be good fun. Thanks, Ralitza.
Thanks for sharing more about the program on the podcast. And I'm sure we will be in touch soon.